What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of AB Investments. Fully enjoyed the live last night. Um, it's an amazing weather here today in the Midwest. We're in the 70s, so I'll take that over any cold weather ever. So, with that being said, I want to answer a couple of questions that I've gotten in the comment section from the live yesterday from Mr. Philip Burgess. So, how are you doing, sir? Hopefully, you're having a great evening, and hopefully you and your loved ones are in great spirits and great health. Now, with that being said, your first question was, where will AMC, now that the MOAS is off the table and all this stuff, where will AMC go and all this stuff? Well, first of all, MOAS is not off the table. Second of all, I know that all are out there saying that it's officially over, still officially over. It's not officially over until the process completely finishes. So when people say you got you got to remember, if somebody gets margin tomorrow, the process is not over. If somebody gets margin, for example, and again, this is there's an if there, but it's quite possible. So what I'm trying to get to tell you here is, like, the best example here is if I was in a basketball game, and I was in my high school career, and many times we were in a position where you're down about 8 points or 11 points or 10 points, and there's about 58 seconds, 55 seconds left in the game. Yeah, the odds are against you and they're stacked against you. You're most likely going to lose that game. But it had happened even in the professional sports, or even in my high school career, where we actually were able to make a very nice comeback and win. So it is not over until the buzzer is sounds, basically. And in this case, it's not over until the process completes. Now, it's not even over then. As far as over, here's where a lot of people's definition of wording is really, really dangerous and important. When people say it's over, you gotta be careful what with how you flip it, because the way you define over is different than many people. The way I define MOAS is different than many other content creators' definition of MOAS. The way that I would value a run-up is different completely than many others. So first, you gotta to understand the answer to your question first, or to get the right answer to your question, first you have to see who values the thing the same way you evaluate it. Or if they don't, get them to understand how your evaluations are made and on what, so that they can at least see where your head is at and what your expectations are. So with that being said, as far as, let's say that the conversion does go through as the settlement did, and everything worked out. Yeah, it's a cool bike though. You got to get all that information into that person. So let's say for me, for example, why has AB in the past said, if this convergence / reverse stock split goes through, then my expectations of MOAS are off the table. And officially at that point, I still do see AMC doing run-ups. And in that case, I will adjust my plan into my investment and incorporate that in it if everything was to go through, and with the settlement and everything. And I won't be the person who ultimately holds it back. That my personal right and what I said. Now, first thing, Mr. Phillip, you got to do, and I would advise everybody else to do this, the place that you're influenced by, not that you follow financial advice from it, look at their expectations. Okay, what do they value? What is MOAS in their head? What is a run-up in their head to them? Here's the thing. Here's why I'm telling you this, because this is important for you, because you might think that your interests align with some, and you're only going to be surprised at some point where, like, oh wow, we're way off at some point. But you don't want that to be way down the line when it's all said and done. Here's what I mean by example. For me, for AB, MOAS meant the 4-digit / even upper 4-digit levels into the stock, because eventually the only way that for any of the shorts to get out is to come and buy shares through us. And here's the thing. When people keep thinking like, oh, well, why don't they cover at 5? Why didn't they cover at 10? Why didn't they cover at 7? Why didn't they cover at 8? They had a way out. Why would they even want to continue to borrow for cost to borrow 400%, 200%, 300%? See, your fundamentalists just want to tell you the things that they see on whatever they read on Google or whatever they've seen or read from another channel or hijacked from another channel, and all this stuff. But they don't have necessarily the actual market trading, or they read a book and now they want to come and apply it into the real world. Unfortunately, we're in a place where it does not even apply. Here's the thing. To many of these individuals, MOAS was never anything over perhaps $100 run up or $120 or $140. And the funny thing is, they're the same people to sit there and call people shills on many things. So it's so ironic and hypocritical that they would say that the MOAS, in their opinion, it would be an amazing thing if the MOAS was to go to 120 or 140, obviously in private calls, so that they don't, they don't lose their fandom, and they don't lose their subscriber base and all the following. So in the following, they easily can avoid or dodge that question when you ask, hey, what is that? Oh, okay, I don't give price targets. Well, no one, like, if someone is asking what is exactly the price is going to go to, then it's a stupid question. But if someone is saying, how can you evaluate this? The right answer to it is not by dodging it or saying it. You can't technically tell someone that, hey, the price could be whatever you think it is. However, you go back in private and you say, if there will be a miracle if this thing goes to 120 or 140. That's MOAS expectations for these clowns, because they don't exactly understand that these companies, these hedge funds, the reason why they wouldn't close at 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 or 8 or 11 or 12 or 13 or even the lower, the more that you would expect them to cover, but they don't, it's because they can't cover with a synthetic. They can't cover with shares they borrow. They need real freaking shares. I don't know if I have to yell this out louder from Mount Everest or I don't know which mountain, but they cannot cover with synthetic shares. They cannot cover with shares that they borrow. They can't. There are no shares in the market to buy. This is why you see the cost to borrow at these levels. If it was so easy to have shares, then they can go on the lit market and buy shares for much cheaper. Why pay 400% cost to borrow on something from someone else? Or 300% or 200%. That's what bothers me the most, is that these hypocritical content creators are swimming in their own bullshit. And I'm sorry for the foul language, but they're swimming in their own BS, and they feed you what is supposed to be fundamentals that they read word by word off of a book or on Google page, and they will tell you that, oh, if the debt is paid off, short thesis is over, they're effed, they're gonna cover. Go F yourselves. Nothing will force a short to cover unless they get margined. Bottom line, not no fundamentals of a company, none of that stuff. So, which will take me to the other questions, and I will answer them later. But the mindset of some of these people, it's so hypocritical and mind-boggling how they think like they're experts and gurus, yet they say, yeah, we're not the financial advisors. Of course, okay, so you rock that, but at the same time, you want to play the bigotry role and say that I know so much more than everybody else, and apparently what they know is the measuring stick of how everything rolls, and the shit that they know is so little, and ultimately their interests are elsewhere. It's not even, their heart is not even with this movement as far as like for the people, by the people, and all that stuff. No, all that stuff is just talk on the air, but in the same time, in the background, it's all about fandom, sub count, and blah blah blah, and all this shit. They're a God-given right. I can't say anything about that. But when it comes to the fact that you are using that to get on the backs of people, on top of people's investments, this is what, for me, this is what gets under my skin, is taking advantage of other people just so that you can go ahead and take care of your own. That right there, that's the worst human being on this planet, in my opinion. One of the worst, because there's obviously many that are bad. So we can't say the worst, but there's bad people, but one of the worst. I think qualities of an individual to be just to create a way for yourself. You rather take it on the backs of many others. So that's the thing. So like when they say this stuff, like it's supposed to happen, they're technically, go ask any content creator and tell them, hey, so if we get to profitability and we pay down the debt on AMC, will that 100% make us squeeze? Watch their answer. I guarantee you say, hey, I'm not a financial advisor, followed by nothing can be sure in the market. You know, there's a lot of bad players and unknown forces. They start talking this talk when it fits best, but they want to talk the fundamental talk when it's the other narrative or when it doesn't fit best. And see, that's right there, right? That's how you catch manipulators. That's how you catch liars and people with different agendas than other than yours in their track. And that's how you stop them right there. For me, it's not even hard to read through all that BS. But again, for the knowledge for everybody, use the same example that is popping all over Twitter and everywhere. GME has no debt. GME paid down its debt. GME it even made a profit in this last quarter. Guess what? They're still being shorted. They're still not covered on them. So that answers the second question that you asked, Mr. Philip Burgess, which is what will happen after this reverse stock split happens and the conversion, if it was to be finalized and go through. What will, man, those were a couple of nice Harleys. What's up with people? We're in the Midwest. We're not in the South. We're not in LA. We're in the Midwest. So people having Harleys here, that's odd. Obviously, no offense. I've seen some Harleys, but like just riding in these streets, that's not let's just say not their type or not the crowd that you get over here. We're right next to the college campus, and the college campus here is like, you know, all younger kids, so they're all on the Gixxers and Suzukis and all that stuff, and the top of the line is like BMW bikes, but no Harleys. Anywho, continuing on with our topic, sorry for being sidetracked. So that answers the second question. As far as long term, how do you see whether the institutions, we answered that question. It comes down to the economics or the macroeconomics of the current times that we're in. Right now, they're all trying to hoard money and make money, not invest money for long term, because the low has not been incorporated yet. And if they are going to invest anything in something, guess what? They're going to invest, or they're going to pile in way after they see a lot of light, not just a glimpse of hope, but they're only come in and invest when there's a lot of hype or there's a lot of light into the future and certainty, obviously. That's as far as the institutions, but put them on the side. We are the single force that have been driving this stock or this AMC movement, completely keeping it alive. Don't let anybody fool you and make you think that you were done a favor. No, you are the favor. You have been the favor. And you don't need me even to tell you this. You need to believe this. Without you, me, and obviously the movement, there was no AMC. Even the CEO, he says it himself. I'm not fabricating these words, or I'm actually, yes, I am quoting Adam Aaron with this. He personally have said in the past that without us, there would be no AMC. We are the reason. Because we came, there was hope for them. There was a glimpse of hope. So never ever think that you are the person who is being done the favor. In fact, no, you're the one who's being robbed. They're taking everything from you, and not necessarily just AMC or its board, but all the forces involved. If you've listened to me before, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big picture. Everybody that's behind this or on top of all of this. I know this is a longer video, but it's worth in my opinion, hopefully you value it the same way I value it. But every word is worth every second that you are listening to it. As I say all this, I'm putting my heart into this for who? For everyone, not for the air. And whether you value it or not, again, it comes back down to you. I'm doing my part for the community and for the movement. What was the final question on there? Will it make anybody cover? We just answered that. I don't know. I think that was all the questions. No, there might have been another one. You got to remember that at the end of the day, I need to emphasize a little bit more just on this. I promise this is the end of it. The ideology that where you evaluate a stock and you say that the MOAS is this going to be this much or that much or whatever, it's going to come back down to you. So the reason why I say that after reverse split and conversion, the MOAS, in my expectations of the numbers and the digits that I'm expecting, if people were to hold to these levels prior, and if there was no reverse split and conversion on the table, if people were to hold to these levels, it's quite very, very freaking possible, because there's no way out for them unless they have to come through us and get shares through us. However, if reverse goes through, conversion goes through, and then obviously AMC has 400 million plus shares that they could issue at any given time, then that right there, imagine a fire, and even if it's big, no fire, no matter how big it is, it will be put down. There will be enough water. They are giving themselves, the conversion will give the shorts all the real shares that are going to be forged out of APE into AMC common stocks shares to do what they got to do with those. So you will have your run-ups. Personally, that's just my humble opinion. Obviously, I'm not certain. They could do it. They could do the opposite. But for me, that's the narrative that I'm going with. That's the investment that I'm personally putting my investment in. Is that if that all happens, conversion and reverse splits, finalize, go through, on that moment, I know that I'm implementing my other plan, which is the AB plan 2, part 2, which is on the run-ups, I'm going to be taking advantage of my investment. That's just my simple personal financial decision for me. I am not telling anybody to follow in or to suit in that or not. Now, on the other hand, that thing does not go through, or if obviously still, let's stick on that. If it still goes through, then you have to understand that one, not besides the conversion with all the shares that they just forged out of APE into common stock shares or the AMC, you also got to think about the other factor, which is the reverse split, which will limit and dampen the blow by so much to whatever amount of synthetics in the background. Now, over time after that, if they keep hemorrhaging people and keep hitting you, many people will not be able to last through these conditions. If they start shorting the stock all over again after all of that, and people see their average cost is way too high and they're brought right back down to $10, $15 a share from dilutions left and right that are strategically given out or pointed out at certain times. So AMC drops 5 million shares. They sell 5 million shares. Okay, dilution for now. 3-4 months later, okay, AMC does another dilution. They strategically do it every time. And then you will have in these dilutions, you will have the look or the gimmick that the price is moving up. And that's what I mean by the run-ups. Because what's happening there is that these shorts or these entities out there are taking these shares to cover some of these with. And if they're not covering shorts with them, let's say they're done with those, they're taking these shares to cover synthetics with them. They got to pair everything that they sold out there. They got to pair it with something. So it's in that, this is where my mind lies. If this happens, I'm going with this. If it doesn't go through, then I'm obviously as bullish as ever. And the MOAS crazy digit numbers and all that stuff are quite possible if everybody holds to those digits. Because the only way for anybody to get any shares to cover, whether synthetics or shorts, will come right back to us as investors, because that we're the only ones that have the real shares. The rest is all either being lent out, and you can't use that for any covering because you got to return it to its rightful owner. So with that being said, hopefully this seems like the length of a live, but hopefully this live answered a lot. If you have any other questions, please put them in the comments section, and I will answer them. Possibly I will start doing multiple videos, smaller ones, so that it could just be question by question by question, so that I'm not taking people down the ride. So tell me in the comments section what you think. What do you want? You want me to just do small videos with just one question per video, or a couple of questions in each video, or do you want me to just continue to be abroad and give you the whole spiel with everything that's going on, or answering a bunch of questions all in one? With that being said, much love, AB Investments.